Hey there traders, and welcome back for episode number 146 from the Stock Bandit. Hope you've had a great extended holiday weekend and you've been able to kind of rest up and prepare for this holiday shortened trading week, which starts tomorrow. And so it's time for us to take a look at the indices here, get a good feel for where the key levels are and kind of what's going to influence how individual stocks are going to move. That's where our trading week begins. So last week was a big week. We saw the major averages not only test some key levels of support, but those were able to hold. And then we saw a very sharp rally that took the indices back up to some very important levels. So for the Nasdaq, we've rallied not only off this 2100 area, which by the way was the February low, so a very important zone right there. We've rallied sharply up to test this unfilled gap between the close of August 10th and the open of August 11th. So this gap begins at the 2236 level, and you notice that on Friday we closed at 2233. So we've rallied right up to the low end of this gap, and that gap extends up to the 2277 area. So for this index, we're getting a little bit short-term stretched after a very big rally of 132 points here, and it would be nice to see some kind of rest to allow this index to kind of digest this big sharp rally that we just saw last week. However, the buyers do have some momentum here, and in the bigger picture, they've really created something that's very potentially meaningful, as this July low has held, and we've now created what looks to be an intermediate term higher low. So we're going to keep an eye on that in the days and weeks ahead, but for now we need to see a little bit of rest and digestion before we make an attempt at filling this gap right here on the Nasdaq. For the S&P 500, we held this 1040 area last week after testing it again, rallied sharply back up through this 1055 to 1060 area, and moved right on up toward this 1107 area. Now that's a zone that we're very familiar with. It posed as some resistance several times. It also acted as some support, and now it's resistance again. We've rallied right back up toward that area. We're just a couple of points away after finishing at 1104. Here again, big rally. We need to see some rest and some digestion take place, and then possibly push through that 1107 and make a move toward these August highs. And very important move here that we saw this 1040 area hold and a nice sharp rally from that. Let's see what the buyers can do with it. For the Russell, 587 has been the magic number for this index. That's kind of this bigger picture double bottom pattern that looks to be in place at this point. We'll eventually need to clear this peak that happened between these two lows. That's right up here at this very important 670 zone. For now, we have reclaimed this breakdown zone at 639 with the move up last week, and particularly Friday's rally took us up through that level. So here again, we've reclaimed that zone. Let's see if this move can be digested with a little bit of rest, and then possibly see a push in the weeks to come toward this 670 area to really put this Russell back on the road to recovery. For the Dow, this index held some support down here, and once again we've got this bigger picture higher low that seems to be in place. We need to see more building, but for now this index is acting very well. It's challenging the prior bounce high, which for the Dow is 10,480. We're just a short distance from that. And then beyond that, we've got the breakdown area at 10,600. That's right back here. So we've got some levels to watch here on the way back up, but overall this index is acting really well. Maybe we pull back a little and test this 10,260 area that's been tested so many times. That's where this yellow line is, but all in all, pretty good price action. Finally, for the VIX, this is the fear index. We're seeing fear subside significantly. Last week we saw 2750 cleared intraday, but not held on a closing basis, and that's happened a number of times in the last couple of months. That's the upper end of this trading range between 27.50 and 23. Well, we sold off very sharply from there and closed well beneath the 23 support area, making new multi-month, in fact 4-month lows. We haven't been down here at 21.31 since early May. So really good to see fear subsiding and seeing this index kind of confirm what the overall index price action has been showing us. So should be a very interesting week. The Labor Day holiday behind us tends to kind of kick off the fall for fall trading, and we see a lot of traders returning to their desks after late summer vacations, and the volume tends to improve, and we tend to get some pretty good price action out there. So we've got to stay prepared. We've got to stay on our toes, continue to work those charts, and look for good setups. Right now, I think the key for the next few days is letting this market digest the move it just made. Let's let some patterns and bases build, and then look to hit it pretty hard for possibly a secondary move. So thanks for joining me for this episode. I will be back soon with more videos, but in the meantime, trade like a bandit.